I'm super excited to talk about one of our newest investments, a company called Toka. Funny enough, this investment is throwing me back to my background as someone that was a part of the Israeli Special Forces. And meeting the Toka team is the first time, it was clear to me that I wish I had those tools back in the days when I was in those operations in order to gathering intelligence and information through software to make a better tactical decisions in the field. Before talking with the founders, I would love to introduce you guys the former Prime Minister of Israel, Mr. Ehud Barak, that not only is part of the founding team of Toka and investors, but naturally one of the most awarded soldiers in the Israeli Special Forces. Thank you so much, former Prime Minister Barak, of being with us here today and talking about Toka. I'm super excited to hear both from your professional experience, but also today from your board relationship with Toka about the company and the space. But maybe we can start with, you're a busy man. I'm curious kind of why you decided to give some of your time to those three guys.
Oh, first of all, I was impressed by the quality and history of these guys and what they can bring, what kind of guys from a younger generation they could bring. And I found it because of the combination of their roles, they had very deep contacts into the community, very, very small and highly selected community of geeks who are working on cyber, not just the defense side, sometimes the more demanding technically or intellectually, the offense side of the whole thing. And it's basically the whole success. You can have hundreds of different companies. The whole success is dependent probably more than on the type of characters who lead it, on the capacity to bring the best out of the younger generation. And that happens only if you can kind of interlock into their emotional and plan kind of universe, your presence when they are still in there, deep into the defense establishment. And because of the special relationship of both Yaron and Kfir, and in another way, Kantor, they really have a unique top quality group of youngsters who are working on the project.
Mr. Barak, we talked yesterday with the team from Toka about how the industry is evolving. So from in the past, those agencies and special forces had their own technical team internally that were able to produce their technology needs. As well, they had the system integrators or the defense integrator, your Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Elbit and Rafael in Israel, that was kind of outsourced to them their basically needs. But the worlds of the battlefield and the worlds of defense and law enforcement is moving from necessary submarines, tanks, and aircraft to cyber and software and computer vision. And it feels like now the startups community have a much broader opportunity to go and capture the operational needs, as the traditional defense contractors are not necessarily have the edge anymore.
When I joined the Israeli army as a young soldier, it was in the late 50s. We got the equipment, the gear was made for World War II, and some elements of it for World War I. I knew it from pictures of the British Army in World War I. And it was unbelievably primitive. So it was in the last 25 years that we moved from develop everything. We used to have a joke. We produced everything in-house at the beginning, both in Israel and in the United States. And with this, I don't know if you remember this term, mil-spec. Everything was produced especially for the military purpose. It was devastating in prices. The cover of a toilet for $1,500, all these jokes. And we used to say that an elephant is a mil-spec mouse. I used to tell when I led this operation within our, I used always to quote a practical that when you see a project, R&D project, the rule of 2 to the third power works for it. Twice the time, twice the money, half the performance. It was about 20 years ago that the achievements in processors, in sensors, and the drive of the consumers market created a situation that we never seen before, that the development of sophisticated product for military or defense or law enforcement use suddenly emerged out of the private market for consumers market, to give some joy for youngsters or for more comfortable, more productive life for elderly people. And suddenly you have seen the edge of the private industry R&D compared with this procedure of mil-spec. Sometimes you have to make it rugged and so on, but you left most of it suddenly to the industry.
It's a really good point, and actually, this is the main point of our whole day of talking about old line industries changing by technology. You hit it on the head of the main topic of our full day today. I would like to thank you, former Prime Minister, for the fascinating session, and as an Israeli citizen, also thank you for your amazing work in your career of protecting the nation. Thank you so much, and appreciate the time.
Thank you very much, and all the best.
In order to do the transition from the government into the private sectors, you need a unique team that have a combination between tactical operation as well technology. Great to be here with the Toka team. We invested in Toka out of a Fund 3. We have pretty significant thesis in the next generation defense and intelligence here at Eclipse. As we are seeing in other traditional industries that now are moving to the digital arena, same things happening in the defense and the intelligence. If traditionally the defense industry was relying on building tanks and submarines, with companies like Lockheed Martin, Boeing, Raytheon, and others, naturally the battlefield moved to the online world and required a different type of skills that connect to software, skills that connect to cyber, computer vision, autonomous systems. And we've been very fortunate to meet the Toka team last year. It's unbelievable. Literally a special forces small team out of Israel that's building a native technology-led companies to address those new world needs around defense and intelligence. So happy to have you guys here talking with our LP community.
My name is Alon Kantor. I'm one of the founders and co-CEO of the company. We started a little bit more than 2 years ago with a clear vision to develop technologies and products for intelligence gathering for law enforcement and governmental organizations.
So I'm Yaron, retired a little over 2.5 years, right before founding Toka with Alon and Kfir. I served in the military for over 32 years. My last position, I was the chief of the IDF, Israel Defense Forces, chief of the IDF cyber staff, directly under the chief of the general staff. Before that, a few decades in the Air Force. I'm an Air Force pilot by trade.
I know Yaron and Alon for many years because we served together in the military service. We are all Air Force guys. Before joining Toka and founded it, I was a founder and CEO of another company dealing with intelligence product. And prior to this, I was also a CEO and founder in a mobile company. And before this, I spent many years at Cisco, leading large R&D organizations.
Maybe Yaron, do you want to talk a little bit about kind of the vision and the technology and what you guys is being built up till today?
Taking it from where Alon started, we clearly see a huge underserved market. The government sector is actually quite in need for an engagement with the startup sector, just generally. Developing high-level capabilities in cyberspace is in great demand, and the human resource, which is capable of developing such technologies, is not around, just not around. But most countries around the world and most agencies, government agencies, whether they are security, law enforcement, intelligence, militaries, which are huge agencies, have a very hard problem developing such technologies. So until now, traditional physical domains have been developed by huge companies, as you mentioned. And now this huge domain, cyberspace, is presenting just a huge potential for intelligence gathering. And we want to be the ones that are developing these, productizing these capabilities, and delivering it in an easy way and to operationalize it and to make these available in all these agencies globally.
Alon, we talked a lot in the past about this amazing mission of the company that essentially not only great commercially moving forward and building a significant business, but also saving life. And I know that you guys are putting the mark when you start the company to work with only kind of tier 1 countries, and also, build both the US operation and the Israel operation to serve those, firstly, 2 nations with those tools that you are guys building in order to save lives. Can you maybe a little bit talk about the decision of why to build a company, half US, half Israel, and also this notion of a tier 1 countries, and maybe even give a little bit some war stories of some of the operations that the technology has already been used?
So we started speaking and started traveling to all kinds of places, and over time we realized that it's not good for our business, it's not good for us to work with those countries, and we eventually got to an understanding that it is best for us to focus on tier 1 countries. As to your question about war stories or actual places where the products were used, recently our product was used to uncover a terror cell in Israel.
Yaron, maybe talk a little bit about what next for Toka.
Make sure that we sell, expand the market globally in the US, make sure we do great with the big customers, with large systems and make sure the customer success is doing great. That's the first level. Vision wise, I think we want to see us developing more, like you mentioned, more types of IoT devices which will generate valuable intelligence from wherever they are. Try to maybe go in the direction of enhancing the data and getting more out of the data which we extract from the targets, making sense with maybe machine learning or AI, or combining both of these and making creating both the intelligence value and the strategic value. If you look at it, it should be like a whole new realm of intelligence gathering. So an intelligence agency will look at our product not only as a tactical capability, which is very important as the core capability, but all the way up to the strategic capability. So this will be like, okay, I have a satellite, I have which gives me these types of intelligence. I have B2s or whatever aircrafts that can fly over and they need air superiority, and they bring me this type of intelligence. I have signal intelligence, and I have Toka intelligence, which will bring them a whole new array of very valuable intelligence to enrich intelligence and operations wherever they are on a global scale.
Can you guys talk about the mission of the company and where you see Toka in the future?
So Toka is, what we do is we help trusted government, law enforcement, and security agencies keep citizens safe and defend against terror and crime by developing cutting-edge and lawful intelligence gathering tools. That's what we do.
Thank you for taking me back to my roots. I'm super excited about working with you guys together in building a very large company that not only achieving commercial milestones, but also doing good for the world.